testing. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Very happy to see you today. I hope you are here for our weekly lecture from Education USA. Yes? And today we're going to speak, good, I like the enthusiasm. Okay, so today we're going to speak about time management for applying to US universities, okay? So first I want to ask who you are and why you're here today. So who is a current pupil in secondary school? Чудово. А студенти? А ви хто?
I'm between.
You're between. You just finished school.
I just finished school.
Excellent. And how about you? Same thing?
Yeah, I'm in high school, ninth grade.
Great. Okay. So why are you here today? Why is this theme interesting to you?
I just love this topic, and I love the part about time management because I've already entered the university, but I still want to listen to this and maybe get some important tips.
Great. Okay. Other ideas? Інші думки?
I'm
Так.
not an organized person, so I like to organize my time and then just find out something about it.
Great. Awesome. Yes, please.
I'd like to go abroad for study. Maybe not right now.
Sure.
Not right after school, but I'm planning it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. І якщо вам зручніше задавати питання українською мовою, будь ласка, як вам зручно. Okay. So yes, the first thing I want to talk about is why we're having this lecture and why this lecture is important. Because to apply to American universities, this is a long process. Usually we recommend that you start this process a year before you want to go to university, or even better, a year and a half. Okay. I understand that in Ukraine, it's a pretty quick process. You take your ZNOs, you decide which schools you want to go to, you submit your results, and then in 3 or 4 months, you know where you want to go. Correct? It's not quite the same in America. It's a long process, so that's why it's important to understand the timeline and where you should start and when you should start. Okay, so that's why we're talking about this today. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if I can do this. Here we go. Okay. So first of all, what is Education USA? So Education USA is an official network of the State Department of the United States. We're supported by the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. We work all around the world. We have more than 435 centers in more than 180 countries. And we are the official source of information about US higher education. Okay, so we provide comprehensive, official, full information about higher education in the US. So you know all the information you're getting from us will be accurate and unbiased. We work with all universities, all US accredited universities, okay? Okay. So this is sort of the outline of what we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the timeline for applying to American universities, what tools you can use, how to define your priorities, where you might want to go, your options for researching those universities once you define your priorities, and talking about sort of how to organize your time and your life so you can figure out what's important now, what's not so important now, what should I do now, and what can wait till later. And of course, if you have any questions while I'm talking, please ask, or at the end we'll have a nice little Q&A session. Okay. Good. So before that, I want to ask you guys a question because I want you to understand, or you need to understand for yourself, why are you doing this? So why does higher education in the US interest you? Why are you interested in US higher education?
After school, I can go abroad and pass into some universities in USA, and it's a good opportunity for me to understand about this everything, how it's going on, and what I should do.
Great. Okay, excellent. Other thoughts?
Yeah, well, America has best technical education, and it's interesting personally for me.
Okay, great. So lots of facilities, lots of good resources. Okay, other thoughts?
American universities give grants for many students around the world, and it's a good opportunity for us Ukrainians too.
Good. Okay, excellent.
I hear from my daughter,
Great.
and she's American citizen.
Okay.
And for me, interesting if we have some possibility to get in American university in our way.
Okay, of course. Yeah.
We are citizens.
Good. So you have kind of a specific situation.
Yes,
Okay.
specific
Great. Good. So I hear all good reasons for being interested in higher education in the US. But because this is a long process, you will spend a lot of time, a lot of energy doing this. You really need to understand why you're doing this, okay? Because there are some not so good reasons for wanting to study in the US. So, for example, the United States is a cool country and I want to live there, or I want to practice English, or other things like that. There are other ways to do that that will not cost you so much time and money. Okay, so yes, absolutely. The great resources at American universities, the grants they can offer, the good.
No, I meant not the resources, but like the education itself.
Yes, the quality of education,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, absolutely. That's a great reason. The good facilities, things like that. Those are all good reasons. So make sure you understand for yourself, why am I doing this? Because it will be a long process. And so you really need to be dedicated and motivated. All right. Has anyone started doing anything to prepare for U.S. admissions? Or you're all sort of at the beginning?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I've already done that.
Okay, so what did you do?
Well, I spent a year like meeting my marks from school,
Mhm.
certificates, taking some tests and stuff.
Okay, great. So you know a little bit about the process
Yes,
already.
but it wasn't that organized, so I decided.
Okay, great.
Should have been.
Good. So it's a good thing you're here today then. Okay, excellent. So here's sort of the timeline that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so we've got from today all the way to your first day at an American university. Okay. So good. So let's start right here, right up at the 12 to 18 month mark. Okay. The first step is really to identify your own priorities and research what options you have for studying in the US. Okay. So let's skip ahead. Okay. So we recommend that you use kind of this kind of little chart or wheel to figure out what your priorities are in your life right now. Okay, so you can see we have family, home, health, hobbies, relationships, finances, education, career. Okay, so you can kind of think for yourself about where you're at right now and say, for example, building a career is really the most important thing to you right now. So you might put like a little dot up here on this line. Okay, and maybe, for example, your hobbies are really not so important for you right now. So you'd put one closer to the center, right? And then if you connect those dots on all of these sort of parts of the wheel, you can make a nice little chart. You connect the dots and see where your priorities are right now, okay? So that's sort of just figuring out, right, like, is education a top priority for where you are at in your life right now, or is it not, okay? And so if you kind of look at all of these things and think about what you're focusing on right now, if education is a top priority for you, then you're in the right spot, okay? So first of all, think about, is education something that you can pursue right now, right? If finances are kind of priority, you need to get more financially stable, or maybe you have some health issues that you need to resolve before you can really focus on some of these other things. Just think about that for yourself, okay? So we've established that education is a top priority for you right now. Then you really need to start thinking about, okay, I know I want to study in the United States, but what do I want to study? Okay. So when you're thinking about your specialty, or in English, we say your major, okay, there are kind of three criteria you need to consider for deciding what major or what specialty you want to study, okay? First of all is passion. What is passion? Yes. Okay. So it needs to be something you're excited about, right? You do not want to spend a lot of money and a lot of time in American universities studying something you hate. Okay. That will not be a good use of your time, right? Of course, skills. Okay. So what am I good at? Okay. What sort of skills do I have, and how can that contribute to what I want to study, right? And transferability. Okay. So this means like how well can I transfer this major into my life after school, okay? How will this help me get a job or a career or something like that? How can I transfer the skills or this major to continue on after school, right? So for example, maybe you have a passion for singing. You're really, really good at singing. But if you think about the transferability, will you have a career as a professional singer? Maybe. But it's going to be a lot harder to sort of make a living off of that, right? So just be realistic with yourself about what you might want to do, right? Human rights. Maybe you're really passionate about human rights, and that can really help you you can get a lot of different jobs studying that field, right? MBA if you're into business, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as you maybe know, may be another option. So there are a million options for majors in the United States, really. When I give presentations, people say, oh, are there schools where I can study psychology? Of course, there are 1,000 schools where you can study psychology, okay? So anything you can think of, you can find, but try to find something that can combine these three things. Do any of you have any ideas about what specialty or what major you might want to have at university, either in Ukraine or in America someday? Advertising. Okay, good, great. So do you have a passion for advertising? Yeah? Maybe you have the skills for it, or you can get the skills at university, right?
Mm-hmm.
And transferability. Absolutely. You can do a lot with a degree in advertising. Good. Anyone else? Other ideas?
Find out more about a law.
Great. Okay, good. Absolutely. Yeah. Engineering. Good. Yeah. Excellent. Good. So start thinking about these three things to sort of figure out what you might want to study, okay? And try to find all three if you can. Great. Excellent. Okay. So once you're pretty sure you know what you want to study, dobrý den. Once you're pretty sure you know what you want to study, start thinking about how you're going to get there. Okay, what options do you have for studying in the US? And there's two sort of basic paths, okay? I'm not going to go into detail very much about these two paths since today we're talking about time management, but we have separate lectures about these paths and how to follow them, okay? So for the first one, there are many US government-sponsored exchange programs, okay? There's some for more long-term exchange and some for more short-term exchange, okay? So perhaps you've heard of the FLEX program? Yes, you've all heard of FLEX, yes. So what is FLEX? Tell me, please, somebody.
Future Leaders Exchange.
Mm-hmm. And who is it for?
Brian and all around for boys and girls, they just have to pass some straight up test, and then they just can win a prize, and this prize is to go for 1 year in America.
Yes, so this is for Школярів, right?
Yeah.
So students who are in 9th, 10th, or 11th form, go. Yes, and they go and study in an American high school, live in a regular American family for 1 year. So that's one example. If you're still in 9th form, or if you're going into 9th form or going into 10th form, that could be an option for you in the fall. Okay, there's also Global UGrad, which is an exchange program for students who are already in a Ukrainian university, and you can go study in an American university for 1 semester completely free, completely безкоштовно. Okay. There's the Fulbright program, which is more popular for students who want to get a master's degree. So most of you may be too young for that, but you can think about that in the future, okay? So there are many different government-sponsored exchange programs. I won't go into all of them, but you can find out information about all of these on the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine's website, okay? And there are also professional development opportunities as well, okay? All right. So if you don't want to go through a government-sponsored exchange program and you want to get to a U.S. university, a 4-year degree, sort of through your own power, your own will, which is more of what I'm going to talk about today, Education USA can support you with that, okay? We offer a lot of different services. First of all, you can visit our lectures in American House every Thursday. We have different themes every single week. You can watch them online on our YouTube channel. You can come to our library. Is everyone from Kyiv? Всі з Києва? Так? О, чудово. Okay. So you can come to our Education USA Advising Center on Esplanada 20 on Metro Palace Sportu. And we have a library there with lots of resources for preparing for tests, how to write essays, how to find a university, how to find a major, all that stuff. You can meet with our advisors, again, completely безкоштовно. All of our services are completely free. You can speak with our advisors about what do I do next? I need some advice about this part of the process, okay? You can subscribe to our newsletter where you will get news about financial aid opportunities. We'll highlight universities, talk about different events we're having. And then finally, we have 2 cohort programs. One of them is the Competitive College Club, where as a group of students, we sort of help you prepare krok za krokom, prepare to enter to a U.S. university. And if you're a member of the Competitive College Club, we have the Opportunity Funds program, which is a grant program. And we help cover the costs of applying to U.S. universities, okay? Not the cost of навчання, but the cost of applying. So travel to Kyiv for taking tests, things like that. All right, so that's how we can support you. But let's get, let's get on to the next step. Okay, well, I have completely messed this up. Sorry, guys. Here we go. All right. Okay. So before we get into that, I want to talk about the different kinds of universities, okay? So like I said, Education USA works with all accredited US universities. In America, there are more than 4,700 accredited colleges and universities, okay? That's really, really a lot. So, of course, you cannot research all of those universities, right? But you can help, you can narrow down to a list of universities that you really want to go to, right? So the first thing to know is that there are two main types of American universities. There are private universities and state universities, okay? State universities in general are bigger. There are more students there. They usually look cheaper. The sticker price that you see on the website is usually cheaper, but they typically offer less financial aid to international students in particular, okay? Private universities are usually smaller. They look more expensive, but they usually offer more financial aid to international students. So that's something to think about when you're thinking about the type of universities. Okay. Who knows? In America, what is the difference between a college and a university?
Private colleges, so one is just like when I go after school for a few years and just not 5 or 6, and universities are more like seriously, I guess.
Okay, other thoughts?
Well, college is like more practical knowledge that you can apply, and university is more kind of theoretical knowledge.
Okay. It was a trick question. There's no difference in America between a college and a university. В принципі. В принципі, вони синонімі, так. So, it's really just a difference of name, right? So you can get a bachelor's degree, ступінь бакалавра, або в коледжі, або в університеті. And they are equal. They're worth the same, okay? So a diploma from a college is not worth less than a diploma from a university. They're worth the same thing, okay? So I understand in Ukraine, there's a big difference between colleges and universities, but in America, they are the same. So during the presentation, I will say college, university, and it is basically the same thing.
But why is
Okay.
it college and university? Why then call it university and college?
So a lot of it can just be sort of a historical name. School was initially called a college. Initially, there was a difference, and then with time, they sort of became the same thing, but kept their name. Okay, so sometimes a college can be a department within a university. Sometimes the name of a college. So I'll give you an example. So for example, there's the University of Notre Dame. That's the university, and within the university, they have the Mendoza College of Business. That's like the business fakultet. Okay, so sometimes college can be the name of a specific department, but in general, colleges and universities are the same thing. Okay, so that's one thing to understand. All right, and we have separate lectures you can watch on our YouTube channel or visit here at America House about choosing a university. Because I know there are almost 5,000, it can be overwhelming, but we can help you with that. We just won't focus on that today. Okay. So when you are choosing a university, we recommend that you use this kind of chart, okay, to really organize yourself. I know one of you said you're interested in organizing yourself. This can be really helpful, okay? So of course, you'll have more than 2 rows. You'll have a lot more. For bachelor's degrees, we usually recommend that you come up with a list of 10, 12, 15 universities, okay? For master's degrees, usually less, 5 to 7 usually. So you start with the university name and the link to the website, so you can just click on their website and you don't have to go searching for it every time. The academic interests, you write about what academic program they have that you're interested in, okay? Financial aid, right here, what kind of financial aid they offer, especially to international students, okay? Be really уважно about this, because often they have different financial aid offers for international students versus American students, okay? So make sure you're looking at what they can offer to international students, okay? Requirements. So this means like application requirements. Okay. Do they require, what transcripts do they require? What test results do they require? Okay. So make sure that you're looking carefully at what they need you to submit, because all American universities are different and have different requirements. Okay. Там зовсім немає Міністерства освіти. Okay? So всі заклади дуже незалежні, okay? Вони вирішують сам собі свої критерії для прийняття студентів і так далі. Okay? So that's why you really need to read carefully about each university, because they will have different requirements. Deadlines. Americans love deadlines, okay? We have, in general, American culture has a very strict relationship to time, okay? And deadlines are really, really, really important, okay? And again, different universities will have different deadlines, okay? So if it says you must submit your application by 11:59 p.m. on November 15th, and you turn it in at 12:01 a.m. on November 16th, your application will go in the trash. They will not look at it seriously. So please pay attention to those deadlines. Make sure you know them well in advance so you can organize your time, which is what we will talk about today, and really make sure you get everything in by the deadlines. This is a great column. Why me? Why am I a good fit for this school? Okay, why would this school want me to come to their university? Okay, because you really, when you're picking a university, you need to think about your best fit. Where will I be happy? Okay. College and university in America is about so much more than just sitting in a library and studying for 4 years. It's really about the experience you're going to have, how you're going to grow as a person. So you need to make sure you go somewhere where you will be happy. And then why this school? Why do I want to go to this school, right? So it's sort of thinking about, why am I a good fit for this school, and why is the school a good fit for me? Okay, it's a very sort of mutual relationship when you're thinking about what university you want to go to, okay? So this chart is really helpful when you're first starting out, trying to narrow down your choices. Thank you, Vika. And you can look and see, okay, this is what I have, these are my universities, and this can help you really, when you can compare them sort of side by side like this, you can see, okay, maybe this university does not offer me the kind of financial aid I need, so I just shouldn't consider it. And you can take it off your list, okay? So this is a great way to organize your thoughts when you're choosing a university. And this part of the process is really important. You should take about a month to research universities. Maybe a month seems like a long time, but it really does take some time to look through all the website pages of the universities, look at their individual programs, look at their student profiles, okay? It's a longer process than you think, so make sure you leave about a month for this process, and you should start this about, again, at minimum a year before you want to start a year before you want to enter to a U.S. university, or even better, 18 months in advance, okay? So if you're thinking about going to school in the fall of 2020, now is the perfect time to start this process, okay? So start researching your options over the summer, and then in the fall, you'll already start submitting your applications, okay? Which we'll talk about later. But really now, beginning of summer is a great time to start this process, and expect that this will take about a month. And this is one of the most important steps, because I think this will really determine your success in getting into an American university, because if the list you come up with at the beginning of the process is not realistic, you're going to be wasting a lot of time submitting your documents, submitting your applications to universities that really are not a good fit for you, or you are not a good fit for them, right? So again, during this process, don't just think about the Ivy Leagues, don't just think about Harvard, Yale, Stanford, we all know about those. But there are almost 5,000 other universities in the US that you've never heard of where you may be much, much, much happier, okay? So if you make this chart and it is 12 Ivy League schools, you should think a little bit differently and get some variety in there. Okay, good. So now let's talk about this little chart. This can be helpful for US admissions, but also just life in general when you need to organize your time. So you can see that we have sort of 4 different sections, okay? Urgent, not important, important, not urgent, urgent and important, not urgent, okay? What does this mean? So of course, which ones should you do first?
Important and urgent.
Yes, of course. The things that are urgent, so terminovo, and they're really important are the things you need to do first, okay? Things that are not important and not urgent means that you can just throw them in the spitnik, just don't worry about it, or deal with it later, okay? Things that are urgent but not important for you, these can be things that you delegate to someone else, right? That you ask someone else to do for you. So maybe you really need to get it done quickly, but it's not important for you. You can't do it yourself. Ask somebody else to help you out and do it for you, okay? And then maybe something is important but not urgent. So what does that mean? It means you can put it off a little bit and do it later, okay? So prioritize these things. Do these things first. Delegate these to someone else. Do these things a little bit later after you do these things. And these things, don't worry about, okay? So this can be really helpful when you're thinking about applying to US universities and, oh my God, I have to take all these tests and I have to submit my applications and I have to write my essays and oh, it's too much to do. Sit down, use this chart, figure out what do I need to do now? If I have a deadline in a week, do those things now. If I have a deadline in 2 months later for something else, do those later, okay? So this can be really good for you to understand, okay, what do I need to do now? What can wait? Excellent. All righty. So here we are, the 12th to 18th month mark. If you're thinking about going to school again in the fall of 2020, this is where we are currently, right? So you've identified your priorities, researched your options, okay? Again, there are different lectures about that, so I won't go into deep detail. Choosing your universities and identifying what requirements and deadlines there are, okay? Again, they will have different requirements, so make sure you understand what each university needs. Okay, so now we're going back to we're in the 12, still in the 12 to 18 months range, but we're getting more into the year mark. Okay, so what can you be doing at this time? Okay, one thing that's important to do is to enhance your profile. What does that mean? It means to try to understand what are your strengths when applying to US universities or appealing to US universities, and what are your weaknesses? What do I need to work on to make myself attractive to US universities, okay? So really your application to a US university is your opportunity to advertise yourself, okay? If you want to go into advertising, this will be great practice for you. It's a great opportunity to advertise yourself, really, because if you can make yourself attractive and help a university understand, oh, I want same vona, своєму університети, right? They will offer you, first of all, admission, and they will offer you more financial aid, okay? So you really want to make yourself look good, so they'll say, oh, they'll fight for you, right? They'll say, oh, I want her to come to my university and not that one, so I'm going to give her more money, okay? So this is sort of the moment where you can start thinking about that, okay? How do I make myself more attractive, okay? You have different priorities for enhancing your profile for undergraduate versus graduate, okay? So if you're thinking about a bachelor's degree, really start thinking about extracurricular activities and leadership and your social life, okay? So American universities, again, don't want to see just that, oh, she's a really good student and she went to Olympiads and she studied really hard for 4 years in high school. They want to see that you're a well-rounded person who will be an active student on campus, right? For American universities, it's really important that they accept well-rounded people and they produce well-rounded people who will go out into the world and be active citizens of the world, right? So on your applications and stuff, don't just talk about your Olympiads and your Zinio scores and all of that. You also need to talk about what extracurricular activities was I involved with? What hobbies did I have? Did I dance? Maybe I did a sport, okay? That stuff is really important to US universities. And then they also want to see that you're a leader, right? That you maybe took part in a club or you volunteered or you started a project, okay? That stuff is really important. And again, that will also help you get financial aid as well as admissions. So if you're sort of in this phase right now, you can start thinking about, okay, I have really good grades, but I don't have a lot of leadership activities to show. Now is a great time to start doing that, right? Get involved with clubs, start a project, see how you can get involved and get some things to write and add to your application, okay? If you're thinking about graduate school, master's degree, PhD degree, they're more interested in professional development. Okay, I understand that in Ukraine, it's very common for students to immediately go get their master's degree right after their bachelor's degree. Yes? In the US, it's not quite the case. They really want to see that you have professional experience, you have some work experience before you go get your master's degree, so you understand better why you're getting that master's degree, okay? So if you're thinking about graduate school, this is for people online, since I don't think any of you are thinking about graduate school, think about how can I enhance my professional resume, maybe even include some publications in there to make yourself more attractive. Great. Okay. So 12 to 18 months mark, you're enhancing your profile, okay? And then in the summer, we really need to start preparing for and taking tests, right? And again, this is part of understanding the university requirements, okay? They will all require, they may require different test results or even tests to take, okay? So make sure you understand what test results they require and start preparing for those, okay? Everyone needs a different amount of time to prepare for tests. Some people just need a month. Some people need 6 months, okay? So really understand yourself. Research the format of these tests, so TOEFL, IELTS, SAT, ACT for undergraduate, GRE, GMAT for graduate. Understand the structure of the tests, understand what you need to take them successfully, and start preparing for those over the summer, okay? Yes?
What difference between TOEFL and IELTS?
That is a great question. So what have you heard about the difference between TOEFL and IELTS? Anything?
I can tell.
Okay. Yeah.
I've passed in both, and like TOEFL is a test that you pass on computer,
Mm-hmm.
and IELTS you pass it on paper. You talk to a real person when you are speaking, and it's more comfortable to pass IELTS than TOEFL. And the TOEFL has more academic text, while IELTS has both academic and articles from magazines and reading parts.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you pretty much covered it. So from a university standpoint, most universities, like 95% of the time, will say we accept either TOEFL or IELTS. Okay, they don't usually require one or the other. But I do recommend you look at the structure of both to understand which you're more comfortable taking. So you're absolutely right. TOEFL is computer-based. For the speaking part, you record your answers, whereas IELTS, for the speaking part, you actually speak with a real person, okay? In general, TOEFL is, it's not officially, but it's slightly more American English based, and IELTS is a little bit more British English. So if you are thinking about studying in American university, it may be good to take TOEFL, but most universities will accept either results. So look up the structure, understand the structure of both tests, and maybe even try both of them and see which one is more comfortable for you, okay? Some people prefer one over the other. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so then, actually, let's go back a little bit. So summer, you're starting to prepare for your tests, right? But also over the summer, or in that 12 to 9 months mark, getting into the fall even, you can start communicating with the university admissions office or the professors, okay? It's really important to start building that personal connection, or it can be really helpful to you, because some universities actually have ways of tracking like contacts, so they can actually sort of track or keep track of how many times has a student reached out to us. And that can be useful for them and for you later on. So they say, oh, this person has been emailing us. They seem really interested in our school. They're really motivated. They really want to come here. They notice that, and they can keep that in mind when they're making admissions decisions, right? And especially on the graduate level for master's or PhD, it's really important to be talking directly with professors, the professors that you want to work with, because they are the ones who will give you assistantships, fellowships, potentially grants to help you study there, okay? So yeah, there's a little spider. Yeah. It's okay. So start that communication, start reaching out, where did he go? He's going back up. Okay. Start building a relationship with the admissions office, even with the international office, because they will be your friends. Okay. And they will remember you if you are. Don't be annoying. Don't bother them, but show your interest, show that you're motivated, and they will remember that. Okay. Good. August, September, you can start writing your essay, okay, your application essay. Do not try to do this in 1 week, okay? Writing your, you can call them motivacyjne listy, essay, whatever you want to call them. This is a really, really, really important part of your application because it's your opportunity to show something that they don't see in the rest of your application, right? Test results are just a number. They're useful numbers, but your essay is really your opportunity to show a different side of yourself that's not just your test results or your transcripts, okay? And this is just so important to take time on this, to write it, to revise it, to read it, to revise it again, to get feedback from other people, get feedback from Education USA advisors. So leave a lot of time to write good quality essays because this is an important part of your application, okay? September, October, you can start requesting recommendation letters from professors or employers. Again, do not ask them the week before your application is due, okay? If you want people to write good quality recommendation letters for you, ask them well in advance. Make sure that these are people who know you well, who can write a good quality personal recommendation letter for you. And again, ask them in advance because you're probably going to ask people who are very busy and have other things going on in their lives. So you will probably have to remind them. So be nice to them and give them a lot of time to do a good job on those recommendation letters, okay? Again, we have separate lectures about writing good essays and how to get a good recommendation letter. So you can watch those on our YouTube channel or later at America House. But I will say about recommendation letters, do not write them yourself. That is a big breach of academic integrity, okay? So again, make sure that you leave enough time to contact people who you know will write one for you, will write a good one for you. But if you leave it till the last week and you're like, oh my God, I don't have any letters, and then you write it yourself, that's not going to be a good situation, okay? So think about this well in advance, all right? September, October, start preparing your transcripts, getting your transcripts from school to submit to universities. Again, look at what the universities require, okay? Some of them will require sort of all of them will require a translation, and then some of them have sort of in-house, evaluation for understanding your credits and things like that, right? Because in Ukraine, it's the 12-point system. In America, it's not. And some of them have their own system for understanding that, right? But you will need to get official translations and things like that, okay? So start thinking about that September, October. How are we doing on time? We're doing great. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Recommendation letters should be from teachers only or from friends?
Good question. So not from friends. Definitely, they will tell you on the university website who they require letters from. On the bachelor's level, they probably will not ask you for recommendation letters. It's mostly for exchange programs or master's and PhD programs, but definitely not friends, not family. These should be either former professors or teachers or employers, people you have worked for. Okay, so on the undergraduate level, you guys don't need to worry about that so much, but maybe you will someday, or for exchange programs, but definitely not friends, not family. Okay, people who know you sort of in a professional capacity. Okay, so then, like I said, here we're in November, December. Okay, submit your applications. Again, all schools have different deadlines, but typically they start accepting applications in November 1st, November 15th. Some of them go into December or even the early part of January. Okay, so this is when we're thinking about. Again, all universities have different requirements. I'll say it 1,000 more times. But typically, this is what you can expect to need for an application packet. The application form, of course, this is just sort of general information about you, your family, things like that. There is a great system called the Common App. Has anyone ever heard of the Common App, Common Application? Spilna aplikacja? Okay, so this is a great system. I think about 1,000 American universities use this system. So it's one application. You put all of your information on this application, and then you can just send it out to however many universities you want, okay? So that greatly decreases your workload. Oh, he's back. Sorry. That greatly decreases your workload because he's okay. This makes your work a lot easier because if you are only applying to universities that are using the Common App, you just fill it out once and you send it out to as many as you want, okay? In America, you can apply to as many universities as you want at one time, okay? There's no limit. But you don't want to apply to too many because you want them to be good quality applications. It's better to send out 4, 5, 6 really good applications than 20 applications that aren't so good, okay? But the Common App makes it really easy. Good. Usually there's an application fee. However, sometimes you can ask for a waiver. A waiver just means like you don't have to pay the fee. And it can be as simple as just writing the admissions office and asking, can I get an admissions fee waiver? And they'll say, sure. And you won't have to pay the fee. Okay, so it's always worth asking. Your transcripts, right? Your grades from school or from your previous university. Your statement of purpose or your essay, which we already talked about. Letters of recommendation if necessary. Test scores, okay? Again, it can be really great to take these standardized tests more than once if you have the opportunity, because the second time or even the third time, you will almost always do better. Your CV or your resume, this is really mostly important for graduate programs, master's degree, PhD, because most of you going into undergraduate don't have work experience, and any other documents. They may need something extra from you. For example, if you're studying an arts major, they may ask for a portfolio. If you're going into performing arts, they may ask for videos, things like that of you performing. So again, make sure you understand everything that they require and get everything ready on time. Okie dokie. So now where are we now? So that's November, December. Submit your applications, okay? And then the great thing about Christmas and New Year's is that you just get to sit and enjoy the holidays because you can't do anything after you submit your applications. You just have to wait, okay? So it's out of your hands. You get everything sent out by the holidays, and then you just get to relax in December, January, February, okay? Then in March or June, in the early part of the spring, you can start accepting either acceptance letters or, unfortunately, rejection letters. It's sometimes the case, okay? What's really important about this is make sure you take the time to respond to each of these letters. Whether it's an acceptance, say, yes, I accept, I want to come to your university, or deny them, say, sorry, thank you for the offer, I'm going to go to another university. Or even if you get rejection letters, it's really good to respond and say, what would you recommend that I improve in my application, or what were the weak points of my application? So if, for example, you don't get in and you want to wait and try to reapply the next year, you can better understand, what should I work on? What should I improve? What can I enhance in that year? Okay? So make sure that you really take time to respond to those letters, whether they are good or bad. All right? And then in June, you start applying for your visa, okay? So as you can see, usually, we get people here at the beginning part of the process and they say, what do I need to do to get a student visa, right? But in reality, this is all the way at the end of the process, right? Do not worry about your student visa until you know that you have a university that has accepted you, that you can afford, that you want to go to, okay? So do not start worrying about the visa at the beginning part of the process, okay? That usually comes in the summertime. Then there's a pre-departure orientation that we offer at Education USA. Our pre-departure orientation is tomorrow here at America House. And so that's where kind of we help you understand, what should I expect in the US? What should I pack? What shouldn't I pack? What about banking, cars? I don't know. All of those questions we can answer and help you with at Education USA, or you can do your own research online. And then June, July, you really start preparing, packing your things, getting ready to go. And then you already start university in America in September or, August or September. Okay. Yes, we talked about that. Excellent. All right. So while you're preparing for your departure, again, this can really be a good time to sort of right? Sort of gather yourself, understand. Again, think about time management in the States. How am I going to manage my time at university? Start talking to your university academic advisors, and potentially even register for classes that you may need to sort of catch up when you get to American University. But again, we talk about all of this at our pre-departure orientation. Great. Okay, before I talk about this, are there any questions?
Yes, I have.
Yes, please.
Marks from which grades influence applying to U.S. universities?
That is a great question. So they do consider all of your grades from high school. Okay, so that's like 9th, 10th, 11th form. Okay. Of course, the more recent ones are more important, right? But they do sort of look at the whole picture, right?
And do universities consider the results or no?
It's a good question. Actually, there are a few universities that do accept ZNO results, but it's not many at all. Very, very few. There are some, but not many. Most of them will ask for American standardized test scores. So for undergraduate, that's either SAT or ACT. Some of them, actually, more and more universities are saying we don't need these standardized test results at all. TOEFL or IELTS, that's обов'язково. But for these other standardized tests, more and more universities are saying, actually, we don't really need to see those. That's fine. You can submit them if you want, but you don't have to. So those are more important. There are a handful of universities that accept ZNAIL results, but not a lot. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Excuse me, about my specific situation.
Mm-hmm.
If American government or university accept it, I'm sorry.
Нічого.
Can I ask in-
Of course, of course.
Це важливо Canadian citizen і Ukrainian citizen. Вони мають якісь відносини з Канадою,
Mm-hmm.
і може для нас це буде easy.
Так. Я розумію, так. So if they're not an American citizen, regardless of where else they are a citizen, whether it is Canada or whether it is Ukraine, they will still be applying as an international student, really. So the American citizenship is what's important, and if they don't have it, they could be from Ukraine, China, Pakistan, doesn't matter. They're, an international student, yeah.
Maybe much better to go to Canada.
Yeah.
And we have to decide it.
Of course, yeah.
Why I'm here.
Yeah, of course. If you want to talk more about your specific situation after the lecture,
Yeah.
we can talk and I can help you out.
That's why I don't-
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can talk afterwards. No problem. Okay. Ще якісь питання?
Do universities pay for living like in the USA?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. So financial aid is a completely different topic. And it's a rather complicated one. We do have lectures and everything here and on our YouTube channel about financial aid. But in short, I can tell you sometimes yes, sometimes no. So universities will offer you sort of this пакет фінансової допомоги. And this may be partial financial aid or this may be full financial aid. I can tell you that it's very rare even for American students to get full financial aid, but some of these partial financial aid offers can still be quite generous. And sometimes they will offer you money to help cover the cost of living. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's just for tuition, okay? So it really depends. But again, an important part of this research process here is to see what universities say they can offer, okay? So even though each applicant gets an individual offer, you can still look on their university and the financial aid page of their university, and they might have statistics like, for example, this is the average amount of financial aid that our students receive, or this is how much we promise or guarantee to international students, okay? So it's really important to look at each individual university and see what they can offer. So sometimes, yes, they can offer that. Good. Any other questions? Yes.
Do exchange programs help with applying? Like maybe it will be easier to apply to university because you were exchange student.
Mm-hmm. So your question is, would it help you to get into a U.S. university if you had already taken part in an exchange program?
Yeah.
There's not any sort of like guaranteed bonus, but if you can write about that experience in a good way, for example, in your motivational essay, You can write about that experience. You can write about, oh, the year that I was in Flex really changed me or opened my eyes through my experience in America, whatever. If you can write a really good essay about that experience and sort of show this experience from the best side and how it influenced you, that may be really interesting to them because they can see, oh, this person's already been to America. They're really passionate about America. America really had a good impact on them, and that's why they want to come back. That may be a good thing. But it's not sort of like, oh, she participated in a Flex, so she's admitted, yeah. But if you can write about it and talk about that in your application in a powerful way, that can be a big advantage. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
How important to have good marks?
Yes. Good question. So yeah, we get this question a lot. Is it more important to have good grades or is it more important to be active? And the answer is that it's all important. They certainly will consider your grades. I think that on the undergraduate level, when you're applying like for a bachelor's degree, I would say maybe it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's less important, but I think they consider it a little bit less because they understand you're a teenager, you're figuring things out, right? But if you do have really good grades, that will help you get financial aid. That will help you get scholarships because part of the scholarships that one type of scholarship that American universities offer is a merit scholarship. And this is based on your grades and your test results, okay? So if you have good grades and good test results, that will help you get money. So of course it's important, but if, for example, you got a bad grade in your chemistry class when you were in 9th form, it's not like they'll say, oh, absolutely not, right? They really look at the full picture. They look at everything. They look at your grades. They look at your essay, your transcripts, right? Your extracurricular activities, leadership activities. They look at everything all together. So if you have, a couple bad grades, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, absolutely not, because they look really at the full picture.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know all of these answers, it's like, це залежить, right? But yeah. Understand again what the university is looking for, right? If you know you have a specific university in mind, but they list on their website, we require this high of a test score or something like that, and that's not realistic for you, just be honest with yourself, right? Okay, any other questions? No more questions. Good. So then I will wrap up with how great Education USA can support you. Okay, so here's our website, educationusa.org.ua. Вся інформація там українською мовою, там є дуже багато базової інформації щодо вищої освіти в США. Тут educationusa.state.gov, це наш глобальний сайт, вся інформація там англійською мовою. Again, this is sort of great for helping you search for universities, financial aid, all that stuff. AmericanCouncils.org.ua, that is the organization that administers Education USA here in Ukraine. And again, there's more information about exchange programs on that website. Okay, here's our wonderful calendar of events. So you can see everything we have going on. You can come back to our lectures at America House. We are on Facebook as well, where we have all of our events, and we also post information about different scholarship opportunities, different universities, okay? And you can also write us on Facebook if you have a quick message. Send us a question and our lovely Vika will respond to you very quickly. And on our YouTube channel, Education USA Ukraine, we have all of our lectures from America House. We record them and upload them the next day. So you can watch this lecture again tomorrow if you want. But we also have just a ton of other lectures about how to write a good motivational letter or good essay, how to search for universities, how to get financial aid. We have a lecture about law programs in the States, business programs, international affairs, anything you can think of, you can find on our YouTube channel. Good. All right. I believe that is everything. So I hope this kind of helped you understand where you need to go from here. But really now, June is the perfect time to start researching your options and start looking at what universities might be interesting for you. Okay, so if you have any questions in the future, please reach out to us on Facebook, send us an email. I will also sign you up for our newsletter if you chose to do so on our registration form. So we will be in touch. So thank you guys so much for coming today. If you have any more questions, I'll stick around and you can speak with me. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good evening.
You too.